hydrant in his fruit. Somebody's taking an awful long time to strike. And of course, as soon as I said something, we're into another game. Cortex taking on Tshadow. They go to Lilac Cruise for game one. Cortex on Pac-Man. Tshadow sticking with Young Link. Cortex, some great pressure to start the game. Already almost a quick 40% on Tshadow. So Cortex off to a good start, making good use of that fire hydrant for damage. Now he's going to try and combine it with a fruit. Really gets that side smash off of the hit with the strawberry, but Tshadow at least able to avoid the worst of that attempted combo. However, he eats another side smash and gets spiked by the fire hydrant off the bottom of the stage. Great play by Cortex, just unrelenting pressure, keeping Tshadow pretty much at the ledge or off stage that entire first stock. And Cortex quickly capitalizes. That first stock off of Tshadow in about 30 seconds. Already has a ton of extra credit on Tshadow as well. Meanwhile, Cortex sitting at just 50% on this first stock. He has a massive lead at the moment. Honestly, this is kind of tame for what Pac-Man can do. Cortex already kind of putting on a little bit of a clinic. See if he pulls out some of the more janky stuff as the match goes on. But another hydrant at the ledge, and Cortex just continually keeping Tshadow off the stage, constantly dropping those hydrants on him. Tshadow finally gets some safety, and he actually manages to knock the hydrant into Cortex. So Tshadow finally evens things up 2 stocks apiece, but he's at 126% and counting. Cortex continues to build on this lead, and he's going to try and take Tshadow's second stock. You don't want to allow him to live for too long and claw his way back into this game. Cortex does manage to take out the trash there with that back air, so Tshadow now down to his final stock. Now Cortex just trying to clean up, finish off this first game. Grab into that down throw, but he doesn't get much else off of it. Tshadow just struggling to rack up really any damage right now. There's almost no consistency here. He's not going on really any runs. That was a good start with that down air into the up tilt, but Cortex just able to turn things around again. Tshadow, good use of the down air to get down safely. But unfortunately, Cortex is just going to knock him away again with that side smash, and it sets up some room for him to work with. Cortex, good patience at the ledge, just holding onto his shield, letting Tshadow make all the mistakes here. Very good sword plant from Tshadow, and Cortex actually side Bs towards his own hydrant and gets himself killed, so an interesting interaction there. And Tshadow has a little bit of life here down the stretch, but again, he's over 100%, and Cortex really hasn't taken any damage at all, but I say that, and Tshadow gets a couple hits out of that down air. He's showing signs of life, a little last gasp here. Let's see if he can turn it into a miracle come from behind win. Tshadow gets some flying from that hydrant. Cortex sets up another one, throws out the key as well, but Tshadow able to stay underneath of it. He isn't able to avoid that grab though. Good back throw from Cortex. He's trying to snipe with the apple. Not gonna work. Good hero spin from Tshadow. Gets it back on stage safely. He's starting to rack up a little bit of damage bit by bit, but Cortex still really healthy at just 50%. Tshadow, meanwhile, barely clinging to life at 176. That down throw is not going to end the game. Cortex could have gone for a little bit of a stronger option there, I think. And Tshadow is still clinging to life because of it. But Cortex until through the fire hydrant, knocks the hydrant towards Tshadow. But Tshadow going to make it safely back on stage. Again, shielding the key, avoiding the big killer moves here. Oh, that's going to do it. Tshadow gets punished for whipping twice on Cortex's shield. And Cortex does manage to take him out with that back throw finally, ending game number 1. But Tshadow definitely went on a run there towards the end and had a little bit of hope to steal that game from Cortex. And, Cortex is going to look to tighten things up in game 2. There's definitely points in that first game where it looked like Cortex was just completely in control and dominating Tshadow. But in the end, it's a little closer than what I thought it was going to be. So Tshadow might be riding a little bit of momentum going into game 2. You know, he's going to shake off the sloppiness early on in game 1 and maybe come back and force a game 3 in this. Now, we wait for another round of stage strikes. Hopefully we get back into the game sooner rather than later. I always hate the wait between games. I just want to go like boom, 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 boom all night. Go game number 2. They're gonna go to Kalos. And I think character selections are gonna stay the same. I'm not sure. Cortex AFK for a second here. I don't know. But as far as Kalos as a stage choice, this is going to probably work out really well for both these guys. They're both zoner type characters, so they're both going to get a lot of room to work with for their projectiles. And I'm really not sure what to think, because again, game 1 ended up being super close after it looked like it was going to be super one-sided. I think Tshadow can definitely force game 3 if he tightens things up a little bit. On the other hand, though, Cortex definitely could have closed it out a lot sooner. So if he cleans up that a little bit and closes out stocks a little sooner, this could definitely go his way. It's pretty much a toss-up. Cortex already off to a really strong start yet again. Tshadow already up to 70%. Bring things back a little bit. Nice use of the bomb into that forward air. Tshadow starts to rack up a little damage. Good job avoiding the fire hydrant as well. A lot of pressure from both of them. Again, with their projectile game. Ooh, good side smash plus the hydrant. Tshadow just barely staying alive here. And this time he is going to go down as Cortex managing to chase him off stage and getting a well-timed orange in there to give Tshadow's recovery. And he takes the lead early here. Up 3 stocks to 2. Tshadow trying to even things up quickly, but that side smash is not quite going to be enough unless Cortex makes a mistake. But Pac-Man is able to use both his side B and up B to recover. However, Tshadow with a beautiful combo as soon as Cortex gets back on the stage. He gets that forward air into the sword plant, and Cortex does go down. So Tshadow getting a really great reset. And we're back to even at 2 stocks apiece, but Cortex opening things up off the respawn again, getting a lot of damage here. And Tshadow's got to find an answer. He can't allow Cortex to keep going on these big runs. Job avoiding that grab, using that boomerang and the nair. Tshadow trying to even up the percent and take a little bit of a lead. They're both just falling back and opting to use their projectile games. They both have a lot of good tools to choose from. Of course, Pac-Man has a little more variability. I think he's got like 7 different bonus fruits, and then he's got the fire hydrant as well. There's all sorts of interesting interactions. And a great side smash. Cortex managing to get behind Tshadow, and he punishes that whiff. Just like that, Cortex back in the lead. Good patience in his shield as well. Tshadow gotta be careful off stage. Can't allow himself to get gimped again and cause himself an early exit. He's definitely still alive in this game. Just gotta get another reset. Good down air, sends Cortex over 100%. Tshadow just trying to play this smart. Slow things down just a little bit, not trying to engage as hard as he was previously. He does go for an up smash there, but Cortex able to interrupt it. Cortex has racked up just a small amount of extra credit. He's building on this lead nicely. And Tshadow, good job following up with the arrow, getting that forward air, and he is able to even things up 1 stock apiece now, but Cortex has that percent lead. It's not much, but it's still going to matter going down the stretch. Nice shot by Tshadow. Using that hydrant as a weapon. Cortex trying to do the same, but Tshadow able to avoid it. Not able to avoid the Galaxian though, and Cortex getting a little bit of damage off of it, and dropping that hydrant on Tshadow's head. But Tshadow trying to fire right back, and it's just a back and forth duel here. Cortex getting a little bit of a lingering hitbox off that side smash and gets some more damage on Tshadow. But Tshadow doing a nice job keeping things mostly even as we come down to potentially a last hit situation. Good down air from Tshadow. He tries to follow it up with the up thrust, but he's not going to get it. Cortex, good back throw. Sets up a chance to try and edgeguard Tshadow, but they're both going to make it back to the stage safely. Tshadow again trying to make use of this boomerang. Cortex meanwhile with the orange, with the fire hydrant. Neither of those going to be successful. Interesting hang up on the boomerang. Both of them now over 100% though. Tshadow trying desperately to stay alive in this series and force game 3. He's barely avoiding that fire hydrant, not going to avoid the down air. Both of them so high percent, and Cortex sniping Tshadow with the key. Takes it 2-0 over Tshadow. A beautiful snipe from Cortex. Tshadow thinking he's safe on that platform, but you've got to put up your shield in that situation. And Cortex will take it with a beautiful snipe with that key. Absolutely insane ending to game 2. But Cortex will be moving on to winners quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Tshadow will drop, and that was a really good set actually, despite it being a 2-0.